And they recovered. They called it offsides. They had to call it back. They had to do the other onside again, and that didn't work out. Dan Mullen, Joey Galloway, Matt Berry. This did work out. So we've had an entertaining day to this point. We're about ready to get into the primetime window. The one Clemson and Stanford. Again, ACC game. Remember what Stanford did when they traveled to Syracuse? Played really well. Give me something to watch tonight.
Well, you know, can Clemson keep playing how they played the last couple of weeks? We saw them look bad week one. And then Klubnik and Moffitt have lit it up since then.
Everybody was digging a grave for Clemson after that week one loss to Georgia. And I kept telling you guys never listened to me. They're alive. The ACC, they can still win it. Let's go.
We're mulling it over.
We're mulling it over.
I got
the team
last
to beat in the ACC. Enjoy the game. We'll see you guys at the half.
Resort, folks. It's the ACC on ESPN. One of the great scenes of college football. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, along with Roddy Jones. Quint Kesnick down on the field, joining us in just a moment. This has been a very sobering several days for the southeastern part of the United States. Hurricane Helene leaving a trail of debris, destruction, and death in its wake. And at this point, Roddy, we're just very grateful that we can bring you this exciting college football game.
We certainly are, and our thoughts are with those who have been affected. Many of them in this stadium right now. I've talked to coaches, players, and administrators of this Clemson program who are without power and expected to be without power for days. So we know many have been affected much more than what we've seen here in the upstate. Our thoughts are with them, but we're excited for this.
When you go back to Thursday when it all started, when most residences and business lost power, this is what it looked like Friday morning when people woke up after Thursday evening. The cleanup beginning in earnest with local officials galvanizing the local agencies, and the cleanup long, laborious, but due to their indefatigable efforts, it all got done, including the work of our technicians, and it affected a lot of different people, including Stanford, Roddy.
Certainly did. They were expected to fly in on Friday evening. They had to fly Friday morning because of the weather here. Losing a day of prep, it's felt very different for them having to fly in the day before the game, coming all the way from the West Coast. Clemson also had some things not go their way. Their team hotel didn't have power, so they had to adjust as well.
That's the backdrop for tonight's game. And right now, though, one of the most exhilarating moments in all of college football. The Tigers entering Memorial Stadium. The foreign life at a gaze. Cardinal names that truly amaze. Pac-8, a Plunkett saved the day. Pac-10, it was done the L way. Pac-12, who doesn't need a little bit of luck? In 2024, the ACC power play struck. The Cardinal and Cuse for their first ACC win. Now travel off to South Carolina then. Paws of orange and regalia. Add to a homecoming basket of paraphernalia. To think a fridge went down that hill. Two nannies for Dabo providing the ultimate thrill. Hey, yo, mind your manners to get into club. We go from Klubnik's top-end speed to look at Dabo.
That's why you train all off-season.
Oh, high knees, Roddy, high knees.
Like in a GPS on Dabo, how fast he was going.
Well, his team winning the toss, deferring to the second half. Stanford to receive. Tiger Backmeyer at his own goal line will take a knee. Let's go down to Quint, and what a journey for the Cardinal, Q.
Stanford is making their second trip to the East Coast in 8 days. Remember, last Friday night they played up at Syracuse in the Dome. Got back to campus at 4 a.m. on Saturday. This week, it was a challenge as well. Thursday's flight was delayed, postponed, and then canceled entirely. They flew on Friday, arrived to Greenville at 7 o'clock last night. Keep in mind, they're the only team outside of Hawaii who's being asked to play, to make 2 cross-country trips back-to-back. You add in a hurricane, it's made a very difficult week even harder.
Wow. classes began this week on campus at Stanford. Big hit on that reverse. Ashton Daniels, the starting quarterback, 6'2", 215-pound junior. He has a lot of friends and family members here at the game. Some 50 tickets on his list for relatives attending the game here. He's from nearby Beaufort, Georgia. 2nd and 10. Pass complete to Mosley. You know, he's got some friends, not just on his own team, but across the line of scrimmage on the other side of the field. He and Klubnik had a chance to chop it up prior to the kick. A couple of guys that have been to quarterback camps together. Friendship ends, though, now, right?
It absolutely does. The quarterback community is a small one, and unless Ashton Daniels and this Stanford team make a Peach Bowl, this is the closest game he will ever play in college to Beaufort, Georgia.
3rd and long. Option into the boundary. Strong run out near the first down marker by Micah Ford. Ford last week had 8 rushes for 47 yards, close to the first down. It's going to set up a 4th and short, it looks like. And in comes the punting unit for head coach Troy Taylor in his 2nd year on the sidelines, erstwhile of Sacramento State University. And on 4th down, it looks like they're going to keep the offense on the field.
I think they are. Stanford as aggressive as anyone in the country on 4th down. Justin Lamson in the game at quarterback. Expect quarterback run. Clemson calls the timeout.
Lamson, the Syracuse transfer, and Clemson will counter with a timeout. What do you make of the call to go for it on 4th down?
They're first.
I like it.
30-second timeout.
You get to 4th and 1, and just about anywhere on the field, the analytics will tell you to go. Troy Taylor knows what the Clemson offense has done the past few weeks, putting up incredible numbers, 66 points against App State, 59 points against NC State. It's going to be a tough task for his defense. You're going to have to score points. Might as well be aggressive early.
Let's take a look at what the analytics say. 4th and 2 or less says go for it. I see more go than not go for it whenever we see these analytics graphics.
When you're in 4th and 1, 4th and 2 or less, unless you're really backed up, the analytics will tell you that the best chance to win the game is to go, because getting that 1 yard, the likelihood of it is actually fairly high.
They're 6 of 10 on 4th down this year. And he's going to keep it himself. The ball came loose a little bit, but he got the first down. Justin Lamson, the Syracuse transfer, coming in on 4th down to move the chains. And they're going to say no. They're going to say the ball came loose.
It was a fumble, and then it was recovered by another player by rule. The ball is placed. Whether the guy recovered the ball, it's going to be short of the line of the game. First down, Clemson.
There's their explanation. The ball came loose, as I said earlier. Recovered by a different player. Thus the spot, and not enough for the first down.
Wade Wood has the linebacker, ball clearly out. What a great job by Woodaz, sticking his big hand on that ball, ripping it out. Lamson with the ball a little low, and it gets stripped in traffic. What a turn of events, because it looked like he would have had the first down.
The previous play is under further review.
They're taking a look at it.
I'm not sure why. I mean, one look at it, and you can tell the ball is out.
The official said that it was recovered by a different player, and that's where they spotted the football. Yeah, Wade Wood has pulled it out of Lamson's arms.
Ball is clearly out. The question, maybe they're looking at whether or not there's a Stanford player that has the ball initially in an immediate recovery. That's what they're reviewing. And then they're going to need to figure out where the spot of that is.
It was recovered by Cedric Irvin, number 26. And you saw him try to creep forward in the aftermath. He knew probably instinctively that he wasn't far enough for the first down. There's a look at the ACC Replay Command Center. Having a look at it. The ruling on the field is fumble and first down Clemson.
There's going to be two questions. One, who was it recovered by? And it looked like, as you said, Cedric Irvin recovered the football. Secondly, if he's not past the line to gain, then it's going to be a turnover on downs, because that was 4th down.
So the replay officials having a look at it. This replay not as consequential as the one at the end of the Miami game last night in ACC action. Here's another look at it. There he is, Irvin with the football, number 26.
How did they rule it was Clemson football is the question. I mean, Cedric Irvin stood up with the football.
One more look at the run by Justin Lamson. There's the rip. Ball comes loose. And there's Irvin, 26, right at the left of your screen.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Clemson.
So the ruling stands. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Clemson Tigers and quarterback Cade Klubnik. Woodaz stripping the ball loose. And Clemson working on a short field here at the 34-yard line. So Coach Taylor's gamble, in effect, worked if you take away the fumble, but it didn't work.
Or you can't plan for the mistakes made on the play. But Troy Taylor is aggressive as anybody in the country. Wes Goodwin, the defensive coordinator for Clemson, told us that yesterday.
Phil Muffa in the backfield. On the play fake, taking a shot immediately. Incomplete. And no flag on the play, intended for TJ Moore. Manley there defending. Clemson Tigers taking a shot after the turnover. No flag.
All right, I completely agree with the Clemson fans. Zared Manley never turns back to look at the ball. Feels like he pushes TJ Moore forward as he's trying to get back for the ball. It should have been a pass interference. But how about Clemson taking a shot on the first play? Manley struggled a little bit last week against Syracuse. Ball a little underthrown by Cade Klubnik as well.
2nd and 10. Muffa, nowhere to go against one of the top run defense in the country. Sinclair makes the stop. Let's go down to Quinn.
You're getting a good look, your first look at Cade Klubnik, who since week 2 is the #1 rated or graded quarterback in the country. He's been decisive. The game is slowing down for the junior. I spoke to him Wednesday. His confidence was beaming. He's mixed in some timely runs, Mark. 55-yarder last week against NC State, where he clocked 21 miles per hour. He's got speed.
That's great speed for anybody on the field, especially for a quarterback.
Pulls it out. On the scramble, Klubnik using his speed again, broke a tackle, directing traffic, touchdown Tigers! Well, Quinn talked about his speed a moment ago. He might have hit 22 or 23 this time, Roddy.
He hit everything he needed, directing traffic, telling guys where to go and throw blocks. I'm not sure he needed it. Stanford goes man-to-man on the back end and do a really good job in coverage. But the quarterback breaks contain. There's nobody there for Cade Klubnik.
Yeah,
shows off the wheels into the end zone.
David Bailey couldn't bring him down, and Klubnik got into the end zone. Tigers on the board, converting on that fumble, the turnover. That's his 4th rushing touchdown of the season, and we have an injured Stanford player on the field. It's number 5, Jay Green, one of their safeties, slow to get up. Stanford off to a bumpy start. Wow, he's grabbed his knee immediately. See him trying to come off the field there.
He's covering TJ Moore, and that's part of the reason there was no one there for Cade Klubnik. Green halfway through the play goes down. You hate to see that. He's a guy that's played really well for him at safety, played some nickel. He's a corner last year at Washington. Great cover skills. Could be a big loss if he's out for any amount of time.
Bumpy start for the Cardinal. Going for it on 4th down, fumbling the ball, and the Tigers convert immediately. 3 plays, 34 yards, touchdown. Cade Klubnik got onto the perimeter. I would call this an education, an acceleration, and celebration. Back after this. Clemson Tigers have put up over 55 points in consecutive games. For the first time in a long time, Dabo Swinney in his 17th season as a head coach. A win today ties him with the legendary Bobby Bowden on the ACC total win list. Bachmeier back deep. And it'll be 1st and 10 from Stanford's own 25. Roddy, explain what happened on that Tiger touchdown.
Well, Stanford decided to get aggressive. They went man-to-man on the back end. These 2 routes are going to clear out a couple of defenders. And then really all that's left is Jay Green man-to-man with TJ Moore. They do a good job of coverage, but then Cade Klubnik goes to scramble. And when Jay Green goes down, there's nobody else around. So TJ Moore is looking for work downfield. When you go man-to-man, the thing that you can't account for, unless you have a spy, is the quarterback's leg. Stanford opted not to go with the spy. You have a guy, unfortunately, go down, and they're in the end zone.
Let's see what kind of response they come back with. This is quarterback Ashton Daniels. Last week ran for 45 yards on 13 rushes, picks up 7 that time. Bobo Jr. making the tackle. Hey, man, the trunk got popped open there, but he kept going.
Let me tell you, it is one of the things that annoys me the most in college football. If Ashton Daniels has his shirt tucked in, then he's not slowed down and he gets more yardage. But we want to look cool and have our shirts untucked, and you can get pulled down by it.
Irvin in motion. Daniels looks his way and now scrambles. And wisely throws it out of bounds. Outside the pocket, beyond the line of scrimmage, no grounding.
I mean, just look, now the shirt's been pulled. And so a defender who's beat can reach out and grab that thing and slow you down. Like, it's not even an aesthetic thing at this point.
Is that the new Gucci? I was going to ask you.
You're the one who wears Gucci, so you tell me.
Micah Ford in the backfield on 3rd and 3 for Stanford. Their 2nd possession of the ball game. At what point does Iomanner touch the football? Their big dynamic receiver, number 13, out to the top of your screen. They're going to run it for the 1st down. Ford pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A nice hole, finally pushed out of bounds by R.J. Mickens. But he's ran for 22, Roddy.
What a great call by Troy Taylor. You get the cross motion, blitz coming from the boundary side, and you just run an inside zone right into it and get the 1st down.
Daniels gets it out quickly. The pass complete to Mosley, who's had a couple of targets already early in the ball game. Got involved on that jet sweep to start the game. He picked up 5. 11 minutes to go in the opening quarter. If you're just joining us, Clemson converting on a fumble by Stanford on their opening drive and scoring. There's a look at Iomanner. Had a big-time catch last week in the game, the win at Syracuse. Looked like OBJ in the process. 2nd and 5. Daniels keeps it, gets the 1st down, and got pulled down by his shirt tail again, Roddy. Good block, though, by Roush, the tight end, for the 10-yard pickup.
And Woodaz, once again, is the one who's grabbing it. But a nice call. It's sort of a full house backfield. And Ashton Daniels, he is not a guy to go down, but the shirt. I mean, He's got more momentum going into that hit if he doesn't have the shirt untucked.
Got to go tearaway, man. Got to go tearaway. 1st and 10. Micah Ford in the backfield. Daniels with a clean pocket. Got him in. Caught, and it's 1st and goal. Cece with the grab. 1st and goal, Cardinal on the 25-yard gain.
Another great play design by Troy Taylor. Io Manor runs off the cornerback, and it's a good throw by Ashton Daniels, driving this before the deep defenders could get there.
Going to run it to the wide side of the field. Nowhere to go for Ford. Trey Williams making the tackle on the play. Number 8, the graduate student from Windsor, Connecticut. It's going to be a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Clemson is not allowed a point in the 1st quarter. Look at the margin.
That includes a game against what was then the #1 team in the country, Georgia.
Boy, have they bounced back since. 2nd and goal. They hand it off on the jet sweep. Nothing happening. Backmeyer had nowhere to go, and it sets up a 3rd down and goal. Jaheim Lawson accounting for the 1-yard loss. They're back at the 7, and still no targets for Io Manor.
That's what I was about to say. At some point, 3rd and 7, you're weighing 2 things. 1, at what point do I go for it on 4th down? But 2, if you can get a one-on-one with Alec Io Manor on one of these Clemson corners, you just go there, hope he makes a play.
One of the best receivers in the country. Daniels flushed out. In the end zone, picked off, intercepted by Terrell. Avion Terrell with the pick. Perfect timing for the Tigers.
It looked like he had Io Manor early. If you loft this to the corner, he can run after it. But he waits, rolls out, throws it late, forces it. Clemson with another turnover.
Ashton Daniels looking at the tablet. Roddy, what happened on this interception?
Well, he just doesn't see it. It's a mesh concept. Io Manor coming across the field. If he throws it right now to this back corner, then he's got the play.
Klubnik taking a shot on the post. Got a man wide open. Wesco down to the 10. They have been ruthless attacking after turnovers.
They have been unbelievable taking these deep shots. Wesco just runs right by the corner, Aaron Morris, who seems a bit confused on if he's supposed to take Wesco or not. Can't turn 12 loose down the field. The all-everything receiver coming out of high school last year.
70-yard gain. 1st and goal. Klubnik surveys, pulls, incomplete. Intended for TJ Moore, and they're working against Manley again. It'll be 2nd down and goal. They've thrown Manley's way quite a bit early in this contest.
A little bit of a struggle last week, and you could tell Clemson feels great about their speed at receiver, particularly with Antonio Williams 0, TJ Moore 1, and 12, Brian Wesco.
Maffa trying the left side of that offensive line. Running over Tristan Lee and Marcus Tate. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Maffa, one of the leaders of that offensive unit. Last week had 107 yards rushing. 3 receptions for 15 yards passing. There's a look at the offensive brain trust. Garrett Riley. This offense much more combustible and explosive this year. 3rd and goal. Complete. Down to about the 2-yard line. That was Antonio Williams, who had a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter last week. 4th and goal. And it looks like they're going to send in Hoosier for the field goal. They're back at the 3-yard line. Nolan Hoosier 3 of 3 on the season. Little chip shot from 20 yards out. Right down Main Street. And the Tigers out to a quick 10-0 lead. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Roddy will explain what the short score might be right now.
Let's go back to the last Stanford possession. This is the rest of the story. Ashton Daniels is looking for Alec Iomanner on a little bit of a mesh route. And it looks like he sees Iomanner coming open, but look at all the room he has to throw the ball. Doesn't pull the trigger because he's got pressure in his face. Tries to go late to Iomanner, and Avion Terrell comes up with the interception. The first turnover created by Clemson of the day. The other one was a turnover on down.
Hochmeyer makes the fair catch, and we'll go back to the studio.
Gentlemen, good evening. Matt Berry in your college football studio with your Chick-fil-A move on the field. Arch Manning again the start for Texas, same as it ever was. Isaiah Bond for the touchdown. Arch 324 yards, 4 TDs. Texas gets the win over Mississippi State.
Roddy, you and I did the game when he made his initial come-up. And there's no looking back, it seems, right now.
Well, they've got a bye week now. Oklahoma coming up after the open day. I would assume that Quinn Ewers takes over after, but check out Stanford. The missed chances early on in this one on the road against a top 25 team. They've had opportunities.
1st and 10, Ford getting to the edge, turned the corner, got those shoulders north-south, and ran right at and over Khalil Barnes. Picks up a nice first down. 21 yards, Roddy.
Clemson just fails to keep contained on this one. A.J. Hoffler, the sophomore, in man on the line of scrimmage, gets caught peeking inside. Ford bounces out. Stanford's been able to move the ball. If you're Troy Taylor, you're encouraged at your ability to get the ball down the field against this really, really talented Clemson defense.
1st and 10 between the tackles. Michael Ford straight ahead, picked up about 4 yards on the play. You know, one of the things at the top of the scouting report for the Tigers is defending this guy, Iomanner.
They've done a nice job of it so far. Both Jaden Lucas on one side, Avion Terrell, who's their best cover corner. This one's probably the best shot they had to get him the ball. You got to give him a chance in the back corner of the end zone. And on the scramble drill, Terrell comes up with it.
You did see Terrell grab the back of his jersey a little
That's
bit,
a vet move. It's a veteran move. Just a little tug.
All right.
But Iomanner had a little bit of a slower start last week against Syracuse, too. But once they needed him in crunch time, he was big.
On 2nd and 7, incomplete. Intended for Mosley. Closely defended by Shelton Lewis. Sets up a 3rd down and 7. I mean, he was holding him like a grudge right here. 2 hands.
That tug right there is the one that could have gotten him in trouble for sure. Fortunate that the officials didn't see it.
3rd and 7 coming up for Stanford. On a rather turbulent beginning here on a team that has been in the air for a long time during this ACC regular season. Into the boundary. Daniels with a first down and then some. Don't get it twisted. The Cardinal are moving the ball on Clemson. 21-yard pickup that time.
Second time they've gone to this speed option. And Ashton Daniels does a nice job of realizing there's no one there. This lane, he sees it, takes off up the field. They've had success running the ball on 3rd down, particularly 3rd and longs. Clemson in a traditional passing down, but Stanford thinking they probably have 2 downs if they can get some yardage. They've been able to get first downs with those 3rd down runs, though.
Gets it out quickly. Mosley again, the target. Picks up another Cardinal first down. Got a good block, too, on the edge. Hey, next Saturday, SEC on ABC matchups are 2 more good games. Missouri is in College Station taking on number 24, Texas A&M at noon Eastern. Then number 2, Georgia hosts Auburn in the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Auburn, Georgia.
Big win for A&M today in Arlington against Arkansas. Mike Elko and crew, and Auburn home against Oklahoma, dropping that one. Now they're on the road for about a month.
Daniels fakes the toss. Got to get rid of it. Into Perril's way, and the second interception thrown. Lucas got that one. Terrible discernment that time by Daniels.
He's going the direction of Alec Iomanner once again, but Jaden Lucas clearly underneath. It felt like he was trying to throw that one away, maybe? Either way, it's ill-advised unless you're able to get it way out of bounds. And he knew right away.
Immediately.
That one was going to be tough.
Well, Coach Taylor going to try and build him back up and coach him back up with the tablet, as we saw previously after the last interception. 3:04 to go. Tigers have taken shots immediately after turnovers twice. A little more conservative this time. Williams pushed out of bounds at about the 35, moving the chains again. Antonio Williams had a big week last week for Clemson. 2 touchdowns, both of them coming in the first quarter.
You saw the creativity with Williams starting in the backfield, motioning out to the flat, just tossing it out to him, letting him run. This feels like a big possession for the Stanford defense.
Klubnik, incomplete. Contact made with Aaron Morris there. The pass intended for Wesco Jr. Quinn Daniels has to get his confidence back.
You know, he's had some success in this game, but he's got to hit singles, so to speak. I think he's maybe a little too overexcited, Mark. You know, he's from Buford, Georgia. This game means a lot to him. First time in the East Coast in this part of the country. And Troy Taylor right now with the iPad just going over the plays on that drive. Taylor, interesting enough, as a head coach, really oblivious to what's going on in the field right now. He's the offensive coordinator. He's obviously the quarterback coach. He's spending a lot of time with his quarterback. That's 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers in the first quarter. Disaster.
Yeah. That pass incomplete. If he doesn't get his quarterback right, it's a big, big issue. That pass incomplete. Let's look at what it's come to so far. The fumble and the turnover on downs and a couple of interceptions.
Well, and it's been the quarterbacks. Justin Lamson was the one with that fumble on 4th down that cost him getting the first. Ended up in a turnover on downs. And then obviously the 2 interceptions, both of them in the red zone.
3rd and 10 for the Tigers. Klubnik sacked back at the 23-yard line. One of the nation's most impervious rush defenses taking a bow. Galvin making the sack. 4th down.
And watch 43 right here. He does a great job of wrapping around and getting into the backfield. She said Josiah Galvan doing a really nice job of getting up the field and creating pressure. This Stanford defensive front has been really good all year.
You said it earlier. This was a big sequence for the the Stanford defense. A low line drive punt. Backmeyer fields it not so cleanly back at the 28-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from there. As now a quick word from Verbo. 1:41 to go here in the opening quarter. Mark Jones alongside Roddy Jones, Clint Kesnick down on the field from Memorial Stadium here in Clemson, South Carolina. And, you know, we're just grateful that this Cardinal football team was able to make it here. The weather in the last couple of days in this area has been very inclement. Irvin in the backfield on 1st and 10. Daniels going to keep it himself stayed on his feet, broke a couple of tackles, and a hard-earned, looks like first down run. Wade Woodaz pushing him out of bounds. Not only was there damage in the area, but here at the football stadium as well. Part of the scoreboard was not working. Look at that. There's a piece missing, right? Like, yeah. They had to take part of it down.
But we're very fortunate that we're able to hold this. Saw App State not too far away up in Western Carolina having to cancel their game with Liberty. Our thoughts with the people up there and in Tampa and parts of Florida that got hit.
Micah Ford earning about 3 yards. Under a minute to go in the opening quarter. Clemson Tigers coming off a couple of very impressive wins in their last 2 games, showing tremendous resilience after being dragged by then the #1 team in the country, Georgia, who has a pretty big game coming up tonight. 2nd and 6. Daniels hesitates. That pass dropped by Backmeyer. Wow. In and out of his hands.
Troy Taylor, obviously he's focused on the play calls, but he knows the opportunities are there. It's felt like this young Stanford team has been a little bit jittery. They've had success, but obviously the crucial mistakes in the red zone and just some little things like the drop there would have put him in at least 3rd and short.
3rd and 6. Good protection, but not for long. Couldn't get the ball out, in a sack and a loss of about 4 yards on the play. Parker, who had a big week last week, causing a couple of fumbles, was there with Trey Williams.
Just relentless in his pass rush. It was really good coverage down the field, which is what caused that sack, allowed TJ Parker the ability to get the sack.
An opportunistic Clemson Tiger team, converting on a couple of turnovers, one with a touchdown and one with a field goal. That's the end of the first 15 minutes of play. And folks, as we said, we're just grateful to be able to bring you a football game here from Clemson this afternoon. This is what it looked like before and then after. Urinals blown over by the gusting winds as high as 30 miles per hour. But the tireless efforts of the cleanup crew got us to today. Flintoff punting from his own 30. Antonio Williams watches it go over his head. Wow, what a tremendous punt. It'll be spotted at about the 5-yard line. Let's go down to Q.
Coach, your quarterback's had some success, but obviously the turnovers have been potentially catastrophic. How do you counsel him right now?
Yeah, when you get outside the pocket, if there's nothing there, you got to throw it away. You can't kind of throw it away. He's playing his butt off, other than those 2 plays, and doing a great job up front. So it's a really explosive offense. We've got to cover him, and hopefully we'll settle into this game and have a chance.
Thank you, Coach.
Right now it's going to be up to his defense. Syracuse win was a huge one in their first ACC victory last week. Level of competition revved up a little bit against Clemson, though, here at home. On 1st and 10, Klubnik into the boundary, incomplete. And we have a late flag. Wesco, the intended target, working against Aaron Morris. We're going to have pass interference here.
Trying to go back shoulder with the throw. Yeah, Morris kind of grabs that downfield shoulder. Colin.
Pass interference. Defense, number 31. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So Colin Wright, number 6, is typically the starting outside corner, but because of the injury to Jay Green, who's the nickel, Colin Wright has had to slide inside to that nickel spot, forcing Aaron Morris into action there at that corner spot, that other corner.
First and 10 from the 20. Trips to the right. Klubnik hands it off on the run to Maffa. And nowhere to go for him. Let's get back to that switch. Colin Wright moving inside. How tricky a transition is that for a DB?
Well, it just stresses you. It is a tricky transition. It's a little bit tougher playing the nickel, but the bigger thing is it stresses your depth. Coming into this game, Aaron Morris had only played 25 snaps defensively the entire season. And so now he's asked to go out and cover Clemson receivers. That's a tough task.
2nd and 9, Maffa. The hard run sets up a 3rd down, about 3 to go. Ernest Cooper, the junior out of Arlington, Texas, making the stop for the Cardinal. 6-yard gain on the play. A couple of schools that are very unique in their approach. Klubnik pulls it out, keeps it, picks up the 1st down. Gain of about 10 on the play. Talked about these two schools being unique, Roddy. Neither of these are heavily into the portal.
One mostly by choice, that's Clemson. The other somewhat by choice, but also because of the academic standards of Stanford. It's tough to get transfer credits to transfer in to the school. Troy Taylor opting to do it the high school way. Check that out. Transfer starters since 2018, even before Troy Taylor, not a ton of transfers. And Clemson, Dabo hasn't had a single one.
1st and 10. Underneath, and a good tackle at the 39-yard line. Good tackle by Colin Wright, who we were talking about just a moment ago on Cole Turner. Turner, one of the fastest players on that Tiger offense. 2nd and 6 coming up.
And Mark, a lot has been made about Dabo's hesitance to go into the portal. He believes in his high school recruiting, and when you look at the talent on this team, you can see why. I think the dip the last few years is they've missed on key positions, but it looked like they've hit on a lot of those.
Klubnik over the middle, wide open. On Stanford's side of midfield, the talented tight end, Henry. Well, time now for our Aflac trivia question. Clemson is one of 4 FBS teams with no first-year transfers on the roster this season. Can you name the other 3? That's a great question.
I can name the other.
You can. See that Georgia Tech education, man. I know you got it. Klubnik downfield, picked off at the 7-yard line. Colin Wright making that adjustment seamlessly and made the pick. We were mentioning his name just a moment ago.
Colin Wright's going to be up here at the top, and Cade Klubnik just doesn't see him over the top of the wheel route. Looks like he's peeking inside, flips his hips, gets outside. Ball's a little overthrown. And Stanford gets one back after throwing 2 in a similar part of the field earlier in the game. Maybe it's just that end zone.
Yeah, it's happening in the same spot. Klubnik with a head scratcher there. Back-to-back weeks, he set historic highs in quarterback rating. That'll knock it down a notch tonight. Chris Davis Jr. in the backfield. Had a big week last week against Syracuse. Here he is on the counter. Davis lowers his hat and picked up about 7 on the play. Lucas pushed him out of bounds. 12:05 to go in the opening half. 2nd down and 2 coming up. We've seen Ford in the backfield. We've seen Cedric Irvin, the son of Cedric Irvin, who played at Michigan State and in the NFL also. And now we get back to Ford. Here he is again. He's going to be stopped up a yard shy of the 1st down. Let's answer that Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
Clemson, one of 4 FBS teams, no first-year transfers. Who are the other 3? You said you knew.
I do. It's 3 schools that can't take transfers: Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Oh man, that's a trick question. That is a trick question.
That was one of
Good
the.
one.
It was a big talking point when that that trivia nugget came out in the offseason that people latched on to.
3rd and short. Irvin in the backfield. And Lamson, the quarterback, comes in again, and this time he hangs on to the football and picks up the first down. He came in on 4th down in the first quarter and fumbled it.
This one was certainly close. The talented freshman Sammy Brown right in the mix, but the strength of Lamson just pushes over the line to gain.
First down and 10. Michael Ford in the backfield this time beside quarterback Ashton Daniels. Got off to a shaky start in that opening quarter on the predetermined quarterback run. Keeps those legs moving, moves the pile, and picks up about 7. But there's a flag down on the field.
Holding, offense, number 58. 2-yard penalty. Correction, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Reason why we're keeping an eye on Iomanner so much. Remember his breakout game last year. I had a chance to call it where he just eviscerated the Colorado secondary. Almost 300 yards receiving on that game.
Stanford was down 29-0 at halftime, and this was against the best player in the country, Travis Hunter. The heroics, they end up winning that game in overtime.
Iomanner put a lot of money on tape that night.
Yes, he did. They got to find a way to get him to put some money on tape tonight, too.
Between the tackles, Irvin picks up 3 yards on the play. Remember, Iomanner had a very quiet first half in that Colorado game last year and picked up the bulk of that almost 300 yards receiving in the 3rd and 4th quarters. Let's go down to Q.
Is it American coin or is it Canadian coin? Iomanner, the Canadian, played high school ball in northern New Jersey at the Petty School, and then in Deerfield Academy. He was really kind of lost during COVID in terms of recruiting.
Daniels pulls it out. Pass complete to Iomanner. And Q, I got the answer for you. The Canadian dollar is trading at about $1.28, $1.30. So he doesn't get any NIL, though. No bag for him. Look at some of the top Canadian football players in collegiate football. Pretty good list.
It is a great list, but we got to figure out some way to allow these guys to earn NIL.
Yes.
I know that's higher than the NCAA.
You know they have dollar bill coins in Canada.
Do they really?
Yeah. Daniels on the run out to the 20-yard line. Woodaz in pursuit sets up a 4th down. The good thing about Iomanner, his NFL money, it's going to come in paper, not Canadian coin.
Yeah, it'll come whichever way it wants, I would guess. Yeah. I just appreciate you, the native Toronton.
Yes, Torontonian, yeah.
Torontonian, is that how it is?
Yeah.
You got to educate me.
I got 2 passports, though, man. It's all good. I'm going to take you up to Toronto one time.
Please do. Heard lovely things. In the summer and fall.
Yes.
Not the winter.
I don't do snow anymore. Here's the punt. And it's going to bounce in front of Williams out of bounds. 1st and 10 at about the 39-yard line for Klubnik after that 41-yard boot. Roddy Milroe, a little bit of a wild card in that game, huh?
His legs are an X factor, and defeating a Kirby Smart defense without that is really difficult, but he's been able to do it.
Tossed him off on nowhere to go, bottled up, and swarmed back at the 35-yard line by Matt Rose. And now let's look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Prudential. What pops off the screen for you more than anything else?
I would say the loss by Ole Miss at home to Kentucky. Kentucky played Georgia close a week ago, losing by a point. They get the job done there in Oxford, and it throws a wrench into the SEC's plans of getting multiple teams, Ole Miss being one of them, who's in the running that they thought could make a college football playoff. Well, they still got a tough schedule ahead.
Klubnik on the post, got a man. Incomplete, no flag. There were two defenders back there. Aaron Morris, one of them, Wesco, the intended receiver. As a freshman, they really like to target him.
They do. He's the speediest receiver on this team. And Aaron Morris does a great job of not interfering with the receiver, getting his hand up in the air and forcing the incompletion. But a couple of times on these deep balls, Cade Klubnik underthrowing his receivers.
Yeah. Wesco, the number 7 rated receiver in our ESPN rankings a season ago. 3rd and 13. Blitz coming. Klubnik, great move, but got rocked at the 42-yard line. Big time hit by Tristan Sinclair. 6-yard gain on the play, but the Cardinal defense holding, setting up a 4th and 7 from the 42.
This defensive line for Stanford is for real. Holding Clemson to 45 yards rushing so far this game. They've been able to create pressure on Cade Klubnik. That time it came from the outside and up the middle. They've done a really nice job settling into this game and making it uncomfortable for Cade.
Despite the 2 turnovers that led to points directly for Clemson, Stanford still very much in the ball game. Swanson punting, averaging 43 per punt on the season. Hasn't been used a whole lot. A high spiral towards the sideline, perfectly angled. They're going to spot this right around the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 coming back the other way for quarterback Ashton Daniels. Trying to find his confidence and get his rhythm back when we return.
Let's welcome the tree to the ACC. It's the All-Coast Conference as Stanford players earning their frequent flyer miles during the last 2 weeks. Last Friday, they had a game up in Syracuse. They boarded that United 757. It's a larger plane, over 5,600 miles, 80-man dress roster, support personnel up to about 170 people. The equipment truck actually drove from Syracuse down here to Clemson, but a week later, they fly east to South Carolina. They're the only team in the country outside of Hawaii to make back-to-back cross-country trips. Welcome to the ACC, Tree.
Wow. The word is itinerant, well-traveled, downfield, incomplete. Iomanner, the intended receiver, but batted away by Terrell.
You saw the 11,000 miles that they traveled. Now, I played in the ACC an age ago, and there were only 12 teams. I don't think I traveled 11,000 miles my entire career.
Wow.
We played like twice on the western side of the Mississippi. Certainly a different era of college football that we're in.
And there's a lot of science behind when you travel, the hydration levels, the sleep. A lot of factors going into being able to successful on the other end of it. On the receiver screen, this is Mosley with nowhere to go. Brought down at the 7-yard line by Barrett Carter, one of the leaders of their defense. We had a great chance to visit with him yesterday. Guy that's graded out extremely well in all of their games so far. His father, Barrett Sr., is here. His mom, Alexis, as well. His sister, Kennedy, also in attendance here at Memorial Stadium. There's a look at their lovely family. Dad, his sister, his mom, part of this crowd. Toss into the boundary. Ford found a seam and made it out to the 16. Mickens with the tackle. You know, Barrett Carter can do well with his NIL funds because Dad is a financial planner, Roddy.
They told us yesterday we saw him in Coach Sweeney's office. He will have no problem when he gets to the next level managing his money, nor does he have a problem now. Dad makes sure those funds are going to all the right places, the Roths, the IRAs, the stocks, the bonds.
Blue chips, baby.
Yes, sir.
4th and 5. Back to the 33, Williams across the 40, brought down to the 46. 52-yard punt and a nice return. Klubnik ready to take the reins of this offense when we come back to Clemson at Memorial Stadium.
Busy night and great night of college football.
Klubnik gets it out incomplete at midfield, dropped by Bringingstool, who's usually one of the more dependable receivers. He and Williams were their top two receivers coming into the game tonight. Sets up a 2nd down and 10. Look at the numbers on him so far.
She's very dependable, one of Cade Klubnik's favorites, but just a concentration drop there.
A big matchup problem for most of the season. Out of the backfield, Williams missed tackle and a 1st down at the 42-yard line by Williams.
The speed of Clemson and Antonio Williams in particular has led to a couple of explosive plays. Clemson's really had trouble running the football. Stanford's been great against it all year long, but Clemson only 57 rush yards, which is over what Stanford has averaged giving up this year. They've only averaged giving up 51 yards a game, so Clemson already hit the over on that, but still not up to their standards.
Klubnik completes the pass. Forward progress is going to be marked at about the 37. He went right back to Bringingstool. Hey, kick off your Week 4 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern with Countdown Crew on ESPN and the ESPN app. They'll have all the latest news with Sept and You Got Mosk. We'll have 2 Monday night games for you next week as well. Titans taking on the Dolphins at 7:15 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. And the Seahawks square off against the Lions at 8 Eastern on ABC and ESPN Plus. Klubnik off the play fake. Incomplete. Another drop by one of his receivers. It might have been deflected by Scotty Edwards.
It's a really nice play by Scotty Edwards. Playing the hands of the receiver. This is going to be in Jake Bringingstool's mids. And Scotty Edwards' left hand goes right to the ball and knocks it out. Clemson's had a tough time getting open against the man coverage of Stanford. Wesco on that one actually opened downfield, and then on the other side, he had a corner fall down.
3rd down and 5. Klubnik gets it out quickly. 1st down to his trusted receiver, Antonio Williams.
And that,
up 6.
That, I think, is where Clemson needs to attack. If you're going to get man-to-man coverage and you're going to have one of these safeties on Antonio Williams, it's that in the short to intermediate game that I think you have to attack constantly. They haven't had success with the deep shots. A lot of that's been because of the throws. They can have success all day there.
Maffa made a great move. Still on his feet. Down to the 5. 1st and goal. .26 yards in all.
It's not often that you see a 230-pound back make somebody miss in a phone booth, but he gets Tristan Sinclair in the hole. Gives him a little of that sauce. Gets up the field. Make the big man rumble.
You said it, at 230. Nimble.
And you see him on the field, he is all of 230. He is a well put together running back. He looks like a next level guy.
His longest run today of 26 yards, and we're going to have the 2-minute timeout. 1st and goal. Must have been a shoulder day today for Phil Maffa.
Every day's a shoulder day.
Or bicep day? Both.
I'm Matt Barry. Coming up with the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Alabama is absolutely beating down Georgia. We'll show you highlights of that. Plus Kentucky gets the upset over Ole Miss. Wild day in the SEC. And Texas behind Arch Manning. They stay perfect headed into the bye week. Dan Mullen, Joey Galloway joining me coming up in the Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Yeah, huge game of the SEC right here. 1st and goal. Maffa puts his hat down and plows his way down to about the 3-yard line. A 2-yard gain on the play. We'll set up a 2nd down and goal, and the Cardinal will call one of their 3 remaining timeouts.
I think a really smart move by Troy Taylor to call those timeouts. Clemson's going to have maximum 4 plays here, so you might as well try and save some time for your offense on the other side. An offense that's had success moving the football. Right. And in these 2-minute situations, if they do get the ball back, they don't abandon the run. At least they didn't last week against Syracuse. First, he's going to be counting on his defense to come up with a stop.
Under 2 minutes to go, and boy, the luxury that the Tigers have of having a back like Maffa, as you alluded to, the fact his size and his explosiveness at 6'1", 230. Second and goal. Klubnik, touchdown, Brenningstool, atonement. Brenningstool with his third touchdown catch of the season. Well, he dropped one a little bit early on the drive and achieving a little atonement with that touchdown catch. Now 17-0 with 1:49 to go. They talked about him being a matchup problem, Roddy.
He is, and he's going to fake the block here and then just slip out into the flat. And Stanford loses track of him. They fake inside handoff. Normally on that inside handoff, he'd kick out the end man on the line of scrimmage. It doesn't happen, and he's wide open. And Cade Klubnik excited. First time they put the ball in the end zone since the long Klubnik run. How about that list?
Wow.
Jordan Leggett.
Benny Cunningham of the Patriots back in the day. Dwayne Allen,
Dwayne Allen, a great player here.
They talked about Brenningstool's improvement in the run game this year as well, helping to round out that Clemson offense. Stanford in a 17-0 hole. Next Saturday, SEC on ABC matchups are two more good games. Missouri and College Station taking on number 24 Texas A&M at noon Eastern. Then number 2 Georgia hosting Auburn in the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
The score in Tuscaloosa holds. That won't be number 2 Georgia when they face Auburn. Down 21-0 in Tuscaloosa after a Carson Beck interception thrown deep in his own territory. Alabama scores. Georgia's got a lot of work to do.
A lot of heavy lifting to come for Ashton Daniels and this Stanford offense. They're going to hand it off to Ford. Across midfield and into Clemson territory at about the 49, and there's a flag down in the vicinity as well. Somebody may have had a grab of his face mask. 26-yard pickup.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 7. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
They're going to tack on some more yardage now in very good field position. Here's another look.
Yeah, pretty obvious one by Khalil Barnes. Although Ford trying to protect the ball probably exaggerated that a little bit more. But in these situations, Stanford doesn't abandon the run. They've got timeouts. They pop along when there and get 15 yards on top of it.
From the 34, Daniels. Boy, made lemonade out of lemons on that one. Got inside the 30 at the 29. Barrett Carter making the stop. How important, Roddy, for them to get points on the board here?
I think it's big because it finally gives you something to show for all the success and empty yardage that you've had so far.
Daniels surveys, had it tipped at the line of scrimmage. Somebody got a hand up and got a piece of that football. It was Green.
Coaches raved about the freshman, Stephylan Green, getting that big mid-up, putting his hand towards the hand of the quarterback to get the deflection. But Stephylan Green, coaches said he's one of the guys that has really come along early in this season.
Yeah, one of the great stories, a surprise story, ascending that too deep. 3rd and 5, Daniels is going to hand it off to Ford. Made the contact and gained 2 more after colliding. An imperious run by Micah Ford. Picked up 6. A little over a minute to go. From the 23. Backmeyer in motion, now trips right. Daniels locks on his receiver and throws it away. Ford, the nearest one. 55 seconds to go.
At some point, I think you do, like they did last week against Syracuse, late in that game, similar 2-minute drive type situation, you got to find Alec Manor and see if he can make a play for you. He's the best player, not only on this offense, he's the best player on this team. They've targeted him a few times, but have not had the success. He's going to be up to the top of the screen in the bunch formation. Now he's singled up.
They hand it off to Ford. Spins, protecting that football. Seemed to be very purposeful about that, and is going to be spotted at the 19 after picking up 4 yards with 45 seconds to go, setting up a 3rd down and 6. The Cardinal call their second timeout. They've got 1 remaining. Well, because of the circumstances, the storms, the hurricane.
But we talked about the disruption of Stanford's routine. Clemson's routine was disrupted as well. Their team hotel in Anderson, South Carolina had no power, so they sent guys home to their dorms and apartments overnight. Brought them into the facility. They were all hanging out in the facility today. TJ Parker told me that the hotel that his parents were staying in also didn't have power. So
like ours.
Came and stayed with him. His parents came and stayed with him last night.
3rd and 6. Looking for some power. Daniels into the end zone. What an answer. Cardinals score. Manor on the JOB. A dismayed Dabo on the 19-yard touchdown catch.
Well, the play is designed to get your best player with a lot of space against the safety for Clemson. Just puts a little move on Khalil Barnes. Ashton Daniels takes a big hit in the backfield and finally finds Manor for a touchdown.
I don't think you can overstate how important that score was for the Cardinal, right, Roddy?
You certainly can't. This is a Stanford team that has outgained Clemson to this point in the ball game, but had nothing to show for it, largely because of the turnovers. Now they're able to get on the board. Clemson gets the ball first in the second half. We'll see how aggressive they are on this drive with 39 seconds and a couple timeouts.
Back to within 10, a 7-play, 75-yard drive with 1:10 left on the clock. They used up 1:10. Remember that shirt tail that was so problematic earlier?
Still doesn't have it tucked in, but he got the touchdown, so.
His nickname is Patches.
Think they sew that thing up at halftime? What do you think they go with?
39 seconds to go. Cardinal back in it. Team that's already traveled over 11,000 miles by coastal a couple of times. From the 2-yard line, Haynes. And brought down around the 21. It'll be 1st and 10 from there for Klubnik. Hey, the WNBA playoffs roll tomorrow. Pair of game 1s, best of 5 semifinals. First game, a rematch of last year's finals. Boy, this is the one I'm really looking forward to. Stewie and the Liberty taking on the best player on the planet, folks. Book it. Don't miss that. Asia Wilson and the Aces ready to go to work at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. The Sun taking on the Lynx. Minnesota against Connecticut. WNBA Countdown tips off our coverage. LaChina in the studio with her crew at 2:30 on ABC and 8 Eastern on ESPN. Klubnik made a move. Bailey wasn't buying it. Brought down at about the line of scrimmage. Scotty Edwards there to make the tackle as well. I'm going with Las Vegas.
I was going to ask.
I'm going with Las Vegas Aces.
Aces.
Yeah.
Going to get you think they take game 1 on the road?
Asia Wilson has been the best player in the league by far. And I even think she's the defensive player of the year, too.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. But that's just me. Right here, it's a 10-point lead. The Tigers have won all but 5 games when leading at halftime. But that guy right there is going to have a lot to say in the final verdict. 17-7 at the break, as we send you back to the studio for scores and highlights.
In his first year.
I mean, that is incredible stuff. Stanford gets on the board, playing some good offense in the first half, cutting the deficit down to 17-7 in upstate of South Carolina.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
IHG Hotels and Resorts. This is the ACC on ESPN. Under the lights here at Memorial Stadium, Clemson leading Stanford 17-7. Let's take a look at our playbook. Brought to you by Modelo. Iomen are a big part of the Clemson defensive strategy. They have been on his rear end like back pockets tonight.
And Avion Terrell's done a really nice job. Here they kind of have 2 guys on him so that they're not able to get him the football again downfield against Terrell. And it ends up incomplete, but they get him on a safety. And he's able to find space against Khalil Barnes for the touchdown right before half.
Big one for them. Tigers will have the football to begin the second half. And they're going to take it out of the end zone. Alley for Haynes, and then quickly shut down at the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 from there. Oh, we're going old school here with the whiteboard. Explain what happened with
It'd be chalkboard if we went really old school, but Iomanner's right here in the slot, and they've got 3 defenders over the top, but really these 2 guys are handling him. This nickel would take anything out breaking there, but what happens is he pushes up the field. There's a slant underneath. You get one-on-one with a 2-way go against this safety. Khalil Barnes is playing inside, ball's thrown, and you're striking up the band. It's a really nice play design by Stanford, knowing that they could get on that safety and create that space.
Smooth on that whiteboard, man. Nice.
Not as smooth as that suit that you got on.
Maffa with a first down run. Here's a look at the play described a moment ago by my partner.
Again, Khalil Barnes has to play inside so that you don't give up the easier post throw, but it opens up acres of space for one of the best receivers in the country.
Maffa breaking through that initial wave and getting about 5.5, almost 6 yards on the carry. Ibar making the stop for the Cardinal. Have to get you back on that whiteboard a little bit more, man. Broke that down like a fraction. I like that. Very, very slick.
Just wait till you see me break out the fractions.
Talk about quarters.
Halves, wholes.
Klubnik pulls in and out of the arms of his intended receiver, Wesco, who has been reliable for most of the season. A rather freshman-like error there. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Klubnik's had his receivers drop a couple on him tonight, Ronnie.
He has. It has felt a bit disjointed at times for Clemson. They haven't had a ton of success running the ball with Phil Moffitt until late in that half. And now a few drops that we've seen from these receivers.
3rd and 4 on their opening drive of the second half. Klubnik, back shoulder, incomplete, and a flag thrown against Manley, who was covering Moore. And once
Pass
again,
interference. Defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, first down.
kind of feels like they found the guy they want to work on, right?
They have. Zalran Manley had a tough game a little bit last week. Fell down on one play, got beat deep. I think Clemson really likes their matchups against these corners with their fast receivers. The thing is, they just haven't found the connections. There's been some underthrows on deep balls. And these Stanford corners have been playing physical. That one called. We've had some not called earlier in the game.
From the 37, first down and 10. They reset the play clock. Under 20 now. Moff on the backfield. Klubnik Flushed out. And wisely throws it out of bounds under duress. That's up a 2nd down and 10. You know, Klubnik, really a team guy, has really won over the locker room this year.
This is why no one was open. They're trying to run a little rub route, get Tyler Brown on a wheel, but Colin Wright does a really nice job fighting through it, covering it downfield, making sure there's nowhere to go with the football. Stanford has not been afraid to play press coverage man-to-man against these Clemson receivers, and largely done a nice job.
2nd and 10. This one complete behind the line of scrimmage to Williams, and well defended by a slew of defenders led by Colin Wright. You know, I was talking about Klubnik and how selfless he is. His unselfishness has really won over his teammates, and I can remember him telling me that his favorite high school memory was actually getting hurt in the last 3 games of his high school career back in Austin, Texas, allowing his backup to play 3 consecutive games, and he was so happy that his backup earned a Division I scholarship. The result of that, I mean, that's really taking a hit for your teammate. Over the middle, complete, through a dime. They're picking it manually again. Moore with the catch. 1st and 10, Clemson. A 14-yard pickup.
There's a little subtle movement in the pocket by Cade Klubnik that helps create the space for that throw. That is part of the development and the maturity of a quarterback. Last year, probably gets a little happy feet, starts to fade away from that pressure. This time moves a little bit, delivers over the middle. Really nicely done.
They keep it on the ground. Haynes, boy, broke through a couple of would-be tacklers. Gain of 9 on the play. Talked about him at Westlake High School with a powerhouse program there. There's a look at him.
He's a good-looking guy, you know, but he looks young.
QB1.
This is him at ACC Media Day.
Oh.
Talk about a glow-up.
Drip, drip.
Mom, I got money now.
Can't hide it. Haynes with the run.
And it wasn't just the suit at ACC Media Day. It was the confidence. I mean, he walked in and there was an air about him that he knew this was going to be a special season. And while it didn't start the way that you would have loved against the University of Georgia, the response has been one of a quarterback that has really grown from a confidence standpoint. I mean, that is a portrait.
Right. His leadership voice really developing as well. And as well as he's played, he's gotten a lot of followers. Big tackle there by Tristan Sinclair. Ed Haynes right in the hole. That's going to be a loss of 1 on the play. Q, what do you have for us?
No social media. Well, that's what Cade said. Well, maybe on Sunday. This is a guy who wears his faith as his face paint. You know, he's got the eye black, notable the 2 crosses on his face. Even tonight for a night game, says that's his purpose. He's not defined by a football player, but his faith is what defines him. He's done a nice job today, kind of controlling his mood.
2nd and 11. Pass complete. Boy, great open field tackling by Colin Wright, who has been brilliant today, Q.
Cade's leadership. He said, you know, it's easy to be a leader during good times, but last year, remember when they opened up 4-4, that's when he started to become the leader. You become a leader in hard times. He said at that time, you could either fit in or stand out. He chose to stand out, and I think we're seeing the dividends from that rough patch that this program went through last season.
And he's bounced back well from that earlier defeat against Georgia. Going through his progression, incomplete. It was intended high for Wesco. Manley defending again on the play, and in comes the field goal unit for Clemson. That's going to be considered a little bit of a win for the Cardinal defense.
I would say so. After scoring right before half, holding Clemson to a field goal attempt here is absolutely a win. And Cade Klubnik just not able to drive that throw. Got away from a little bit and he sailed it.
Hoosier made one earlier from 20 yards out. This one coming from 33. That's right, it's pronounced Hoosier. Who's your #1 kicker? That guy, Nolan. 10:06 to go in the third quarter. And the lead back up to 13. Under the lights here at Clemson's Memorial Stadium. The Tigers leading 20-7, and this is the second meeting all time between Stanford and Clemson. New ACC rivals, competitors, whatever you want to call them, in the new landscape of college football. Tigers held to a field goal on their previous drive. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. I'm Guy Quint, always the man on the street with the right questions.
Hey, Stanford, welcome to the ACC. None of the Clemson Tiger fans know your mascot. What's Stanford's mascot?
The Cardinal.
I have no clue. No idea.
Do you know what?
Pine tree? Palm tree.
It looks like a Christmas tree to me, honestly.
A tree. It's weird.
You're the smartest person we've talked to today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, it's a eucalyptus tree. I knew that.
Did you know that?
Yeah, because you can smell it when you get on campus. Nice run by Micah Ford. No use when you walk on the campus. There is the redolent aroma of eucalyptus down University Avenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to get out to the farm. Never been. Would love to go. How about our one of the patrons saying a palm tree? Oh, palm trees in Stanford. They're on the right track, though. We'll give them half credit.
There are palm trees out there in Cali, yeah. In northern Cali.
In Stanford?
I think so, man.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I need to take you there, man.
Yeah, please
I need to take you
I'd
there.
love to go.
Yeah. Go and get a couple first-class tickets out there. Daniels flying first class here. Incomplete, but there's a flag down intended for Iomanner. Terrell there defending. Looks like a certain PI.
Pass interference. Defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty. First down.
It's a double move by Iomanner and just gets a half step on Avion Terrell, who just loses the composure at the top just a little bit. I think he'd had a chance to break that up, as Iomanner was going to have to wait for it a little bit, but Ashton Daniels knows as soon as it happened that was going to be some sort of flag.
Nose of the football on Clemson's side of midfield, just inside midfield, about the 49. Iomanner, remember, is a huge second half performer. Daniels patiently waiting for a hole that never materialized. TJ Parker with the tackle. Let's go back to Q.
That was much better run defense, because Dabo was ticked off when I spoke to him at halftime. With his run defense, he said, we're not playing assignment football versus a QB run. Perimeter runs have torched this defense all day. We got to set a better edge and leverage from the second level. And then third would be tackle. It's all simple stuff, but that's what he threw at his defense during halftime.
In our meetings with him, he said that the strength of the defense, Wes Goodwin, the defensive coordinator, said, was their energy and their cohesion on the interior. Little quarterback counter. Daniels with a first down dash. And then some. Daniels will be brought down right around the 10-yard line, and a key block by Khalil House, Roddy, helps spring him loose.
The freshman does a tremendous job. You're going to see him fold around and then get up on the safety, R.J. Mickens. Great patience by Ashton Daniels, waiting for that block to develop and then getting to the outside. And I'm as surprised as anybody that Stanford has had the level of success running the football that they have today. Most of it has come on the edges of that defense, but that one kind of right at the teeth of Clemson, moving the defensive line.
From the 15, Ford turns the corner and pushed out of bounds just inside the 10-yard line. This reminiscent of the David Shaw era, when the offensive line helped brand the logo and the adage, intellectual brutality.
Yeah,
that's how they beat you down.
A lot more tight ends and fullbacks in that group, but from a physicality standpoint up front, I absolutely agree. And this is a young crew. You've got a freshman and 2 sophomores, 3 of the 5 starters. The only senior, Levi Rogers, the center. They have really grown up today in a hostile environment here in Death Valley.
2nd and 5. On the sweep, it's going to be Davis, the fastest of the group. Ends up about 2 yards shy of the first down with 3rd down coming up. What do you like in terms of a play call here, Roddy?
Well, they've gone to that speed option a few times on these 3rd downs.
And here comes Lamson, the backup quarterback.
Well, now I think you're getting some sort of quarterback run. Or is this a time where you break out a Lamson pass? He's thrown 1 for a touchdown down on the goal line against TCU.
3 tight ends, Taylor, Roush, and Blackburn in the ball game. He's going to throw it. Thought about it, and then brought down at the 10-yard line. He was perusing the end zone, but nobody appeared to be open, and Brown made the tackle for a loss of 2.
If he was going to decide to run the ball, it needed to come a little bit sooner. Sammy Brown, the all-world freshman out of Georgia, who's a great running back, wrestler, linebacker in high school, tracked him down with his great speed.
And a puzzled-looking Justin Lamson on the sidelines.
They're going
to go for it on 4th down. Okay. 4th and 5. On the reverse, Mosley. He won't get it. R.J. Mickens was there to push him out of bounds. And the aggressive Coach Taylor not being able to get it done.
I don't mind him being aggressive. I don't love the play call. It just takes too long. R.J. Mickens is able to come from the middle of the field and make the play. And Troy Taylor knows a big opportunity missed, not coming up with points.
The prevailing storyline from the Stanford sideline has to be the missed opportunities. They've had a bunch of them tonight and have not been able to cash in the red zone. And they trail by 13, 5:57 to go in the 3rd quarter. Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, Quint Kesnick down on the field. And this is the 2nd conference game for both these teams. Klubnik overshoots his receiver. Boy, that was dangerous. Almost picked off by 2 different Cardinal players, Manley and Wright. Both were in the neighborhood.
I understand Colin Wright going for the football, but he got a PBU there. That's a broken up pass. It looked like Zaran Manley would have had the interception had Wright not tipped it. Obviously, he doesn't know that. Sure. You got to go for the ball, but man, what a missed opportunity.
On 2nd and 10, Klubnik keeps it himself and picks up about 4 on the play. Bernadelle making the tackle for the Cardinals, setting up a 3rd down. Stanford team, as we said at the top of the show, one of the best squads defensively against the run. Stanford is actually outgaining Clemson in terms of total yards so far, but they trail where it counts on the board. 3rd and 6. Klubnik had it knocked away, incomplete by David Bailey. The ball's loose. Didn't hear a whistle up here. Cardinal claiming they have the football. Officials perplexed, looking at each other.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense.
So it'll be Stanford football with a short field. They're going to look at it. Like all plays are eligible for review, but here's the first one. David Bailey was there with the pressure and got a hand on it right there. The Cardinal could use a break right now. We'll get the adjudication of the call on the other side of this break. Klubnik trying to make a pass here. On the field, it was ruled a fumble, Stanford football, but they reversed the call. Instead, it's 4th down. Here's the punt from Swanson. Staying on his own goal line. They come after it. And the Cardinal is going to have very auspicious field position right around midfield at the 46 after that 40-yard punt. Well, prior to the game, Ashton Daniels and Cade Klubnik had a chance to exchange pleasantries. Friends from camps that they've attended previously as high schoolers and post-high school, but they don't call it show friends. They call it show business, Roddy.
Once you step between those lines, it's all business. And it's been some good and some bad business for both of them. Ashton Daniels has his team in striking distance, though.
Starting at their own 46-yard line. Io Manor to the bottom of your screen. They keep it on the ground with Micah Ford, who's going to be bottled up right near the line of scrimmage by Shelton Lewis right there. Number 2, the sophomore out of Stockton, Georgia, with a nice hit. No gain.
Mentioned earlier that Stanford outgained Clemson on the ground by nearly 100 yards. 218 yards so far on the ground for the Cardinal. Vast majority of the damage coming via the run. Ashton Daniels has been a big part of that, but Troy Taylor's done a great job of designing up some ball plays.
Daniels looking to throw, rolls out, downfield. Io Manor couldn't come up with the grab this time. Incomplete at the 20-yard line. Barnes was back there with Lewis, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
I think I like letting guys play, but I think we've seen a little too much of it today. I mean, this looks like pass interference all the way. Barnes never turns to look at the ball. He's interfering with the ability of Io Manor to catch the pass. He's on top of him. I'm with you, Ashton Daniels. Yeah. You know, look, Stanford has had one of those earlier in the game as well with their defense getting away with it. But either way, 3rd down.
Daniels after the fake on the jet sweep. Nobody bought the fake. And he's out of bounds. Lucas making the tackle for the Tigers. And a quick 3 and out. One more look at that pass attempted for Io Manor.
And they are certainly letting them play on the back end. That at least has been consistent all day.
Flintoft with the punt. Let's see where they spot this. It's going to be inside the 10 at about the 7-yard line. 1st and 10. Clemson 93 yards away after that 48-yard punt. Hey, next Saturday, SEC on ABC matchups are 2 more good ones. Missouri, Texas A&M, who's number 24 at noon Eastern. Then number 2, Georgia, who right now are getting dragged by Alabama. Last I saw, they host Auburn in the Deep South's oldest rivalry. I wonder what the state of that Auburn quarterback room is going to look like after this week's game, and then that Georgia-Alabama game, 30-7, with the Tide in control so far. Didn't see that coming, Roddy.
Neither did I. 30-7 at halftime, no less.
1st and 10. Klubnik had to get rid of it. Outside the pocket, ball went beyond the line of scrimmage with the receiver there. No grounding as a result.
It was an absolute jailbreak into the backfield, though. I mean, he had 2 guys in his face on a half roll almost immediately. This is a really disruptive and penetrating Stanford defensive front, and they have done a nice job today against a really experienced offensive line from Clemson.
Off on the backfield in 2nd and 10. Off the play fake. Pass complete, and an immediate tackle made on Brown by Colin Wright, who's been in on several key plays. He limits that one to a 7-yard pickup. Sets up 3rd down now for the Tigers.
But it gets you into a 3rd down situation where you have a lot more options on a 3rd and 3 than certainly it had an incomplete pass and been 3rd and long. Cade Klubnik's legs, a big danger weapon here. Stanford's gone man-to-man in these situations, though.
3:07 to go in the 3rd. Klubnik steps up. Made one tackler miss and slides in safely at about the 18-yard line. Man, he got down just in time.
Yes, he did. And they're marking that he got the 1st down. When a quarterback slides, it's where the slide begins, is where he's ruled down. But again, the man-to-man coverage,
The
they
ruling
go.
on the field of a 1st down is under further review.
Yeah, that. I can mark it back at the.
I think it's
17.
a bit short.
It's going to be close, yeah. So it's where the slide begins, not when he hits the ground.
Correct.
Necessarily,
it's
right?
when the bottom starts to lower as he's giving himself up. The question is, are you going to be able to tell where that is? You don't have a shot right down it, but from the naked eye, it looks like about the 16-yard line is where that begins.
Right.
From the angle that we saw.
I think we have Kenny Pickett to thank for this,
We
right?
we absolutely do.
The fake slide.
After further review, the runner started this slide at the 16-yard line, which is short of the line of the game. It'll be 4th down.
There you go.
And this is the definitive shot. Watch where he starts to go down. Right there. That's it. 16-yard line. And they do that to protect quarterbacks and defenders from themselves. As soon as a quarterback starts to give himself up, defenders pull off. So you have to mark him down. You can't give him anything past that.
And that makes it fair for the defense.
Makes it fair for everybody, yep.
So 4th and 1, and Klubnik coming back onto the field. So Dabo is going to go for it here.
How about Dabo using the analytics? I mean, 4th and 1 saying, let's go.
They like using the word momentum, and they have a lot of it of late, despite the circumstances this week. Might be just trying to draw Stanford off sides. Play clock at 10. Remember, the helmet communication with the sideline shuts off at 15 seconds. And Dabo's going to burn one of his 3 timeouts. Let's check in with the studio.
Timeout, Clemson. They're first.
Another week, another Jeremiah Smith highlight, the talented true freshman wide receiver for Ohio State. There was a one-handed grab. It was perfect. Buckeyes up 24-7.
Right back here.
I'll tell you what, if
frustration.
there is frustration here, but if they let freshmen go pro, Jeremiah Smith might be the first receiver taken in the draft after this season if he was eligible.
Yeah, he is like that.
He's legit.
4th and 1 coming up. And the Tigers will punt it away. Nolan Hoosier standing at his own 2-yard line. Pardon me, that's Swanson. Aiden Swanson punting. Cardinals should have very propitious field position as the ball harmlessly rolls down to about the 39. 44-yard punt. A lot of it roll, and Ashton Daniels, the native of Beaufort, Georgia, back at the reins of this offense, which has held its own. But when you look at the turnovers, that's what has been most costly. He's 7 of 16. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. A man that has about 50 friends and family members here at the game. Pulls it out. Picked off by Woodaz. Right into his arms.
There are good plays and there are great plays. Wade Woodaz makes a great play, getting underneath, and then the athleticism to go up and grab it.
Wow.
The follow through. He's a former safety. That was just sort of a big safety coming in. They said, hey, if you move to linebacker, you can be elite. He's the leader of this defense, and he makes a big play for Clemson. Third interception of the day for Ashton Daniels.
Yeah, they're upside down right now on that turnover margin side. 1st and 10 coming back the other way. Tigers have taken shots after most of the Stanford turnovers. They take another shot here, downtown. Complete. And around the 10, Moore giving him more.
The fact that TJ Moore did this while being held the entire way down the field, it's the whole time. And he still concentrates and brings it in. They are fired up about their freshman receivers. TJ Moore, Brian Wesco getting most of the run. The two guys that started to play a lot after that Georgia game, and they have made plays.
1st and goal after that 34-yard pass and catch.
The ruling on the field was completion. The previous play is under further review.
Well, the good news is that gives us another chance to maybe get a look at that wonderful catch by Moore out of Tampa Catholic High School. They had each other at arm's length. Oh, there was a little bobble at the end of that.
There was a little bobble. And you have to survive. When you go into the ground, you have to survive the ground with the catch. And if he regains control and he's out of bounds, then that very well could be an incompletion. When he hits the ground, does not maintain firm control, then that's not surviving the ground with the catch. And normally if you're in bounds, there's no problem. You just regain it and you're in bounds. But as you're sliding out of bounds, you don't regain that control until out of bounds, then it's an incompletion. So a good review by the replay officials.
Throwing out some facts there, partner. Pertinent ones. Ball appeared to be moving around a lot.
Did. I would imagine that this is going to be overturned and come back as an incompletion because of the jostling that happens. It's caused when the ball, or when TJ Moore hits the ground.
How would you like to have had to sort it out, that call last night in the Miami-Virginia Tech game?
ACC Replay Center has been busy this weekend.
Yeah. Putting in overtime. 1st and goal coming up if it stands.
We were still talking about the call last night earlier today.
Yeah. A mass of humanity in the end zone, and they took the touchdown off the board. They reversed the call. Came from the ACC Replay Center.
After further review, it's ruled an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down on the 43-yard line.
You called it, Roddy.
And the crowd's upset, but it's the right call.
Yeah, by definition.
By definition, you have to survive the ground with the ball. You don't have firm control, or it's not ruled a completion unless you do that. And he has control there, but it doesn't survive the ground. It starts to jostle around, and he regains control, but he's already out of bounds. You see the laces and the Nike logo moving around. That ball's moving.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 back at the 43 for the Tigers, whose routine was disrupted this week. Klubnik, undaunted, unafraid, complete, Turner, Touchdown! Boy, the unbridled confidence of that guy right there, Klubnik, really speaking loudly right now. Right after the disappointment, Roddy, they come back with another shot. Extra point good. And speaking of shots, Roddy,
these are not the fun kind. He takes an absolute hit, delivering to Cole Turner down the field. And there's nothing like, after taking a big hit, watching the arms of the officials go up in the air. The confidence of Garrett Riley to dial up another shot. Get Cole Turner with a full head of steam up against the safety. And the execution of the quarterback, tremendous.
14 touchdowns this year, 4 rushing, 10 passing in the last 3 games, pardon me. You know, talking about their routine, we saw and documented how they entered the stadium on different buses in a different routine that was impacted by the inclemency of the weather this week. The players actually stayed in their own dorms. They usually go to a team hotel, but that hotel did not have any power or electricity like a lot of places in the area. They did get a chance to watch LeBron James's movie Res Ball, and maybe finding a little inspiration in that amongst all the circumstances. Those beautiful homecoming floats and pageantry destroyed by the weather.
Ultimately, you give a lot of credit to this fan base for showing up. Many of them, their homes affected. Many of them, their homes without power, coming here for a little bit of joy, and their Clemson Tigers are providing it.
1st and 10. Complete out of the backfield, Micah Ford. Picks up a couple of yards. Hey, help people affected by Hurricane Helene. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. People do need a lot of help.
Yes, they
in the
do.
southeast, in this area. Our hotel is still without power. I got a flashlight in my bag I'm going to use to go up, walk up 4 stairs without the elevator working. Daniels completed about the 34 to Mosley, working against Terrell.
How many stairs you reckon you've done the last couple days?
Well, I can tell you that as I check my watch, I've got 16,000 steps, and a lot of them are, I don't know, Q, how many steps, Q?
I'll tell you one thing I know, there's 12 steps on every floor. So I've basically done it blindfolded.
Wow.
I mean, there's 0 light.
Yeah. You can use my flashlight, Q. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. 15 minutes to play here under the lights at Memorial Stadium. Clemson has been a lock when leading after 3 quarters. Justin Lamson in at quarterback for the Stanford Cardinals to start this 4th quarter. And nowhere to go for him. No gain on the play. Brett Carter in on the stop with T.J. Parker. You know, I've been doing this for 34 years. 3rd times, I wish I was in the stand.
Was that
what an atmosphere. Yeah, that was one of them. You see the fans making noise and cheering and having a fantastic time. There's a Taco Bell Live Ma student section all season long. Student sections across the country competing to become the Taco Bell Live Ma student section of the year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. One of the tremendous venues in college football, and that's going to be Clemson football. They didn't make it on 4th down again. and Ashton Daniels slow to get up.
Ashton Daniels, a guy that takes a lot of hits in the quarterback run game, and on the sneak, these get caught down there at the bottom, and it's sort of a massive humanity on top of him. You're getting pushed from both sides. Your backs are pushing behind you. Defense is obviously pushing against you. A little shaken up. We'll be right back.
Not a positive sign a moment ago as we went to break. Ashton Daniels heading into the tent to be attended to by the Stanford Cardinal athletic training staff. Clemson ball, first down and 10. From the 45, wide open down the sideline. Wesco, touchdown Tigers. For Wesco, that's his second touchdown catch of the season, the second of his career. The precocious, talented freshman. Extra point is blocked. So a little teaching point for Dabo and his staff on Monday. A moment ago, Q caught up with Coach Sweeney.
Use the word momentum this week. Is that evident tonight or not?
Yeah, this half we got it. Really great job coming out on the opening drive and getting some points, especially answering after they scored right there. And then, man, creating a turnover. Really disappointed. We slid too early. That was a costly mistake. We overcame it. Defense, got the turnover. Man, we hit some big plays. They're challenging us, and we're challenging them downfield. Great play by Cole Turner. Just playing a little better defense this half. We need to finish this fourth quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just underway here in the fourth and final quarter. Cade Klubnik all smiles right now after his offensive unit has really started to find its rhythm. Let's check in with the studio.
All right, if you guys were waiting for a Georgia comeback, probably don't, because Jalen Milroe's doing whatever he wants to the Georgia defense. Right now, it is 30-7 Alabama in the third.
Wow. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of consequences emerge from that game if Alabama should hang on. That's going to be Ford. Stopped up at about the 29-yard line. We think about the SEC. What about the prospects for the ACC teams and the new 12-team playoff?
Well, you've got two clear contenders at the top in Miami and Clemson, and they don't play each other during the regular season. So their first meeting could be in the ACC championship game. I think if you're an ACC fan, the dream scenario is that Miami's undefeated. Clemson's only losses to Georgia when they meet. And then you've got the prospect of two teams making it as things kind of clarify themselves in other conferences as well. Alabama clearly, at this point, the best team in the SEC. I guess Texas has an argument.
Yeah, top 4 seeds will have a bye week. The other 8 will play on the first weekend.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Look at the new 12-team college football playoff. 5 highest-ranked conference champs receive automatic bids. The 4 conference champions, seeded 1 through 4, first-round buys. That's what I alluded to a moment ago. Seeds 5 through 8 get to host those first-round games. Option into the boundary, nowhere to go for Chris Davis Jr. Barrett Carter making a stop that mom and dad and sis would be proud of. They're in attendance here. Barrett Sr., Alexis, his bride, and Kennedy, his sister, in the middle. Why are they looking so worried? Game's under control so far.
Anytime your son or brother is on the field,
yeah,
you live every single play with them, so they're locked in.
3rd and 13. Lamson, sacked, back of the 16-yard line. Mr. Carter there again. Well, mom and dad insist have to be impressed with this one, Roddy.
Yeah, and Barrett Carter's just a spy in the middle of the field. Nowhere to go for Justin Lamson. Barrett Carter brings him down, and they are loving it.
Let's go down to Q, and the punt is blocked, partially blocked by the Tigers, and the ball dribbles harmlessly to the 35-yard line. Let's go down to Q.
Roddy and I spoke with Barrett on Wednesday. What a great young man. I said, who's your hero? Said, my sister Kennedy is my hero. I just want to see her happy. I want to see her smile.
Out of Buffalo locker room, having a little party post-game. They won big tonight. Klubnik surveys, fires completed the 23. That's Cole Turner, who caught that touchdown a little bit earlier. One of the fastest players on the team, a 14-yard gain.
Watch Cade Klubnik work from his right. He wants the double move, the screen and go. Works all the way back to his left and delivers an accurate pass.
Throws it up and incomplete at the 5-yard line. Intended for TJ Moore. Clock stops with 11:23 to go.
I think they just ran the exact same play, but the opposite way. Tried to hit the screen and go to the right, didn't work, so he tried to hit the screen and go to the left.
Something we haven't talked about tonight is the explosiveness of this Clemson offense in contrast to last year, right?
A lot of that has to do with the quarterback. A lot of it has to do with the personnel. I mean, think about who those throws have gone to.
Maffa's a constant. Brought down to the 17, a gain of 4. You can look at the tangible numbers, and that's what the improvement looks like dating back to last season. Remember, they've had over 55 points in the last 2 games. And right now at 33 with plenty of time to go. Third and 6. Klubnik into the end zone, and there's going to be a flag. Moore was dragged down by Manley. They have been giving him work tonight, simply put.
Pass interference, defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Stanford has left him on an island a lot. And look, he's competed, so I give him a lot of credit for that. And had a tough game a week ago against Syracuse at times, and at times tonight it's been tough. But the thing at corner is you can win more battles than you lose.
Right.
But the ones that you lose really cost your defense.
That's Excedrin headache number 42 right there.
Or is it jet lag?
Yeah, both. First and goal for the Tigers. Stanford trying to get lined up. Manley running onto the field. It doesn't matter. Touchdown, Tigers. Henry. Another one. Olsen, Pat Hendry. That's his first touchdown catch of the season. And another offensive explosion by Clemson for its 3rd consecutive game. (40-7). Is Clemson back? Clemson with almost 480 total yards of offense. Cardinal ball, 1st and 10 from their own 25. Time now for our drive recap, covered by Geico. And Klubnik can take some hits. Looked like they hit the decal right off his helmet, but he delivered a strike for the touchdown. And in the second half in particular, Roddy, the offense seems to be clicking better. What do you see differently?
Look, number one, they've hit their shots is the big thing. They've gotten some PI calls, but they've hit their shots. They created a turnover, and that big M word that Dabo keeps using, momentum, has really been on their side. They have played confident, and it felt disjointed in the first half. It has felt anything but that in the second.
They're outscoring Stanford 20-3 in the second half. Mosley with the catch and run. Pushed out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. He picks up the first down. Keep in mind that quarterback Ashton Daniels, as Quint reported from the sidelines a moment ago, has been taken into the locker room with an apparent ankle injury.
Hope that young man's okay. You hate to see it. A guy from Buford, Georgia, some 87 miles from Memorial Stadium here in Clemson. Basically a home game for him.
Yeah.
The ruling on the field has been reviewed if the runner's knee was down.
Well, that replay center, ACC replay center, not getting many breaks tonight. Was his knee down or not? Is it touching?
You can see it right there. Yeah, it looks like it's down.
Got that high resolution right there. It looks like it's touching the turf.
He was wearing the green leggings. You may not be able to tell, but the white stands out.
There you go. Q, I'm curious, what's the field like after all the
It's incredible.
moisture?
It's incredible to think about the rain that this region received on Thursday and Friday, that this carpet is about as immaculate as it gets. You'd walk out here, Mark, and you don't even know that it rained yesterday, and the amount, monsoon basically. This field is really a testament to the hard work of the folks here. It's as good as it gets.
Yeah. And Q, the grounds crew's been doing a great job here for years. And when I played here, it's one of my favorite fields to play on because it was a firm but forgiving track, low-cut grass. And there's places that you don't look forward to going to play because you know the track's not great.
Hey, man, I just want to know, what kind of numbers did you put up here? You give these guys work?
I don't know if I gave them work. We had a good record. We were 1-1 here.
Oh, okay.
4-1 in my career against the Tigers.
Oh.
So.
After further review, the runner's knee was down at the 31-yard line. It's going to be second down, Stanford.
They're going to bring it back to the 31-yard line. You're going to hit that search bar and punch in Roddy Jones versus Clemson.
You don't have to.
No verification needed?
No verification needed. Let's just say a lot of hard hits happened on this field, and I was on the receiving end.
Iomanner couldn't hang on just through his outstretched arms. Incomplete. It's been a relatively quiet night for Iomanner. Had the one touchdown.
An opportunity here. It's rare that you see the ball hit his hands and end up on the turf.
I'll be right there.
He's made much more difficult catches than that. 2 receptions for 24 yards and a touchdown tonight. For the native of Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. City about an hour and a little bit southeast of Calgary. Third and 4. Clemson going to try and run for the first down and appears to have gotten there. At the 35-yard line, it'll be first down and 10. Hey, here's your Week 6 ACC Network football lineup. Begins next Saturday at noon with Boston College against Virginia, then Stanford against Virginia Tech, will cap the night with Duke taking on Georgia Tech at 8. Each game also available on the ESPN app. You can watch anywhere. So Duke, Georgia Tech, your alma mater next week.
Duke with a big win over North Carolina by 1 point at home over the Tar Heels. Tar Heels in a rough spot right now after dropping the game last week to James Madison in embarrassing fashion. Duke was behind in that ball game, came back from behind, and Georgia Tech coming off of a bye week after losing to Louisville. It'd be a fun one.
Manny Diaz,
undefeated, man.
Yes. On 2nd and 11, incomplete. Clemson threw it over the other shoulder. Iominer couldn't get to it. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
Ashton Hampton, who had the coverage on that, he's down on the field pregame.
Right.
He is one of the biggest cornerbacks I've ever seen in my life. I mean, straight out of Central Cass. He's listed at 6'2". He looks taller than that.
Wow.
And as a freshman, he's earned a little bit of playing time. They've been able to play a lot of guys, but I mean, he's got a bright future at the cornerback position.
Yeah, he had the nice pick 6 last week against NC State. 3rd and 11. Lamson incomplete. Broken up by Sammy Brown, intended for Irvin. So it'll be 4th down. In comes the punting unit with 8:46 to go. Lamson, the Syracuse transfer, on the sidelines now after that incompletion.
Here.
Punt bounces at about the 27. Down at about the 23. 42-yard punt, nothing on the return. We asked you a little bit earlier. 3 consecutive wins now, potentially. Are you buying or selling the Clemson stock?
I'm doing what Dabo said after this next stretch of games. After the NC State loss, said better load up on Clemson stock. I don't take my financial advice from William Christopher Sweeney very often, but if I could buy Clemson, I would absolutely buy. In all seriousness, look, the first half was a little sloppy, but this was a team that I thought coming into the year could be a top 10 team in the country. With the exception of 1 half of ball against Georgia, they've looked like it.
Sure have. Vecina in at quarterback. Christopher Vecina hands it off to Haynes. Short gain on the play. Matt Rose making the tackle. There's a look at the freshman from Birmingham, Alabama. Remember now, we saw Dabo, a win tonight for Clemson. He would tie Bobby Bowden on the all-time wins list in the ACC. And it was interesting to hear Sweeney tell us that when he first got the job here, interim position as an interim head coach, Bobby Bowden was the first one to call him. He's been a mentor and was a mentor to Dabo for a long time.
Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Sweeney says that he still has an old voicemail recording of Bobby Bowden that he saved for nostalgic reasons. Talk about one of the legends of the profession. Nice tackle on the play by the Stanford defense, Matt Rose.
Really cool to hear Dabo talk about the impact that Bobby Bowden had on him and what it would mean to pass the legendary coach on the ACC wins list. You know, Dabo obviously worked under Tommy Bowden when he first got here, and it was through that he developed that relationship. And as you said, he said Bobby Bowden told him that all the Bowdens were rooting for him when he got the interim job.
Yeah, great gesture. Haynes brought down about 6 yards shy of the 1st down. Dabo also mentioned Gene Stallings as a person of great influence in his life, former collegiate coach at Alabama. Now in his 17th season on the sidelines. Wow, time really flies. A couple of chips later.
It does. It's weird to look at that because that interim game, when he first game as the interim coach, was against my Georgia Tech team, which just lets me know that I've been out of the game for a long time. But what he has done, he's transformed the face of this entire university through the success of the football program.
Line drive punt fielded at the 35 by Bachmeier. Brought down immediately at the 34-yard line. 38-yard punt, nothing on the return. 1st and 10 for the Tiger. And in a profession where tenures don't usually run that long, look at that impressive list.
Yeah, it's incredible. Kirk Ferentz, Kyle Whittingham, Mike Gundy, Troy Calhoun out there at Air Force, Dabo Sweeney, and Mark Stoops. A type of longevity. I mean, think of the lives of head coaches a lot of times.
Yeah.
They move their families. And Dabo's been here longer than that. He was on staff for a number of years before becoming the head. So,
been some greats come through the doors here. I think about Danny Ford, former Clemson coach here back in the day, and under 6.5 minutes to go. That pass incomplete by Lamson, intended for CeCe. You know, there's so many great places to visit while you're here in Clemson, South Carolina. I'll tell you, the blackout really hit hard. The lack of electricity in the area. But the Esso Club was still popping.
Of course it was.
Your man's got there yesterday for a little bit.
Did you really?
Had to visit. It's an annual tradition for Mark Jones. Yeah.
Staple.
Got to the Esso Club, and
I missed my my usual trip to Smoking Pig for barbecue because of the blackout.
Lamson, he's going to be sacked by Sammy Brown as we go back to the studio.
All right, Matt Berry back in our college football studio. If you want to finish watching Clemson and Stanford, go over to ESPN News. For now, we are bringing you the kick of the big one in the Big 12.